Good evening, everyone. So today we would like to present our research titled Pragmatic Function of English Slang in Generation Z Digital Communication. This study explores how Generation Z use English slang in online communication and how slang function beyond its literal meaning. We focus on pragmatic aspects of slang such as expressing emotions, building slang, and creating identity. So why this topic matters is because language is constantly changing and Generation Z plays an important role in shaping modern communication. Today, slang is not only used as informal vocabulary, it has become a tool for expressing emotions, showing attitudes, creating identities, and building social communication online. By studying the pragmatic function of slang, we can better understand why people choose certain expression and how meaning is influenced by context, especially in digital communication. The background of this research is based on several important observations. First, digital communication has grown rapidly through social media and online platforms. Second, Generation Z is one of the most active groups in digital communication and frequently use slang expressions such as slay, lit, low-key, and bro. Third one, slang serves various functions including expression, emotions, humor, identity, and social relationship. In addition, pragmatic help us understand how meaning is created through context rather than through words alone. This research is guided by 5 main questions. First, what types of English slang are commonly used by Generation Z in digital communication? Second, how does English slang function pragmatically in conveying meaning, emotions, attitude, and social relationship? The third one is how do factors such as platform, audience, and situation influence the use and interpretation of slang? Fourth, how does English slang contribute to identity construction and a sense of belonging among Generation Z? And finally, to what extent can the use of English slang lead to misunderstanding or misinterpretation in online communication? These questions help us understand both usage and the impact of slang in digital interactions. Before discussing the topic further, I would like to explain the research purpose of this study. The first purpose is to identify the types of English slang commonly used by Generation Z in digital communication. Second, in this research aims to analyze the pragmatic function of English slang, especially how slang convey meaning, emotion, attitude, and social relationship during online interactions. Third, this study examines how context such as platform, audience, and situation influence the use and interpretation of English slang. Fourth, this research explores how slang contributes to identity construction and group belonging among Generation Z in digital environments. Lastly, this study investigates whether the use of slang can create misunderstanding or misinterpretation in digital communication. This research provides 3 main contributions. First is the theoretical contribution. This study contributes the fields of pragmatic and social linguistics by expanding understanding of how English slang function in Generation Z communication. Second is the future research contribution. This research can serve as a reference for future studies related to slang, pragmatics, and communication patterns across different platforms and culture. Third is the practical contribution. This research helps readers understanding slang, meanings, and function in online communication, reduce misunderstanding, and support modern language teaching. Pragmatic function refers to the functional use of language, where meaning depends on context and not only on literal words. According to Yule, pragmatic is the study of invisible meaning that the people can understand message even when they are not said directly. There are 3 main frameworks. First, is implicator, which means understanding intended meaning beyond literal word. For example, when someone says, "It's getting late," it may actually mean they want to leave. Second is the cooperative principle, which explains that communication works effectively because speakers and listeners share mutual expectation. Third is speech as theory, where language performs actions such as giving direction, expressing feeling, making promise, or providing information. Slang refers to informal words and phrases commonly used by particular groups. Slang has several functions. First, it supports efficient communication. Second, it helps create social bonding. Third, it allows people to express identity. And fourth, it shows creativity in language use. Because of this function, slang becomes an important part of digital communication, especially among Generation Z. There are 4 types of slang presented in this study. First is society slang, such as bro and lit, which are commonly used in everyday social interaction. Second is internet slang, including expressions like lol, OMG, and for real, which are widely used in online communication. Third is community or phantom slang, which develop within specific communities or interest groups. Lastly, there is a blended slang which combines English with local language. The use of slang among Generation Z offers both benefit and challenge. The benefit includes building solidarity, expressing emotion, encouraging creativity, and creating more relaxed interaction. However, there are also challenges. Slang may create ambiguity, lead to misunderstanding, appear unprofessional in certain situations. And because meaning changes quickly, some people may find slang difficult to understand. Overall, slang is not only a communication style, but also reflects identity and social interaction among Generation Z.
So why is slang closely related to pragmatic function? The key idea is that the meaning of slang isn't fixed. It heavily depends on the audience, the context, the platform, and the speaker's intention. For example, the word low-key can express agreement, secrecy, or just mild opinion. Now, when we look at Generation Z, specifically those who are roughly between 1997 to 2012, we see a generation that grew up with the internet, making informal and creative language sounds completely natural to them. Slang helps them to express their identity and feel a sense of belonging to a group. It also creates a relaxed, friendly tone and often conveys humor, sarcasm, or emotion far better than formal language can do. Nowadays, social media trends, viral videos, memes, and influencers keep spreading the new slang across the world almost instantly. Moving on to our research method. This study used qualitative descriptive approach because our goal is to understand and interpret how slang is used. For our data sources, we use 3 digital platforms. The first one is Instagram, TikTok, and X, or formerly known as Twitter. The forms of data we collected were public comments, replies, posts, and captions that contain English slang. As for the subject of research, we focused on written digital communication produced by Gen Z, and we only use publicly available content, so no private data or personal conversation were collected. Next, let's talk about how we actually collected and analyzed the data. For collection, we use non-participant observation combined with documentation, meaning we observe the conversation without joining or interfering, so the language stays natural. We captured the data through screenshot, copied text, and noted the context for each one, such as the date, the platform, and the type of interaction. Our instruments included an observation checklist, a data recording sheet, and documentation tools. And we used purposive selection, so only clear and identifiable slang were included. For the analysis, we applied qualitative content analysis following the three-stage models by Miles, Sugarman, and Saldana. First is data reduction, where we simplify and filter the data. Second is data display, where we group the slang by its pragmatic function. And third is conclusion drawing, where we interpret how and why Yancy uses slang. All of this is grounded in pragmatics and speech theory, drawing on Euler and Grisset. Finally, this slide presents the references that supported our work. These include foundational works in pragmatic and sociolinguistics, such as Yule's The Study of Language and Abel's work on slang, along with more recent studies on slang in digital environments and on the language of Indonesian Gen Z. These references help us to build both theoretical framework and the analysis behind this presentation. So that's all from our presentation. Thank you for your time and attention.